We are back with an update for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know it hasn't been too long since I did an update video on them, and they're still in training camp and preseason, but there have been some developments and there have been some things that happened that I feel like are worth talking about. Most notably, some guys getting back from injury. Cole Sillinger and Liam Foudy playing their first preseason game yesterday. Cole Sillinger pretty much a lot to make this roster. Liam Foudy, not so much. He's definitely firmly on the bubble, and I think him being injured through most of camp is definitely a detriment. I think even if he does show that he is good enough to hang on the roster, there are other guys who have been played very well as well, like Yegor Shinikov and Carson Meyer. And Liam Foudy is just kind of late to the party, even if he does stand out, which he didn't in the last preseason game. But if he's assigned to the AHL, he will have to go through waivers. Maybe somebody takes a chance on him, but honestly, since the qualifying round in the bubble in Toronto, he hasn't really done a whole lot. But again, he is still very young, former first-round pick. There might be a team out there willing to take a flyer on that if they see him on the waiver wire. Captain Boone Jenner is also projected to make a return in the next preseason game on Thursday. He has been held out all of camp as a precaution with his back injury. They're saying that he's not actually hurt. They're just kind of keeping him out of games and scrimmages as a precautionary measure. So hopefully, these preseason games that he's going to play in, it will get him some reps, get him back to game speed, and hopefully Boone Jenner is fine to start the season. However, there are some players who went back onto injury. Gus Nyquist is day-to-day with a lower body injury, as is Zach Werenski, although he's dealing with a non-COVID illness. So for those guys, both veteran players are going to be on the opening roster day one. Hopefully they are ready to return by the 12th for their game against Carolina. That's my only concern with them, is hopefully they get over these day-to-day injuries before the actual season opener in Carolina against the Hurricanes. James Neal was cut from his tryout contract, so for anybody who was worried that they were actually serious about him making the team and that he would stunt the development of some of the younger players, yeah, that's not going to happen. These teams have to fill a veteran quota, and James Neal is one of those guys who might become something. He might turn some heads and make the roster out of camp, but the longer the camp went on, the more it seemed that James Neal is decent, but you're not going to have him on the Blue Jackets roster. Maybe another organization takes a flyer on him, or maybe when they're trying to make a run for the playoffs or a playoff push, they kind of get him as some veteran depth, something like that. I don't know. Either way, James Neal not cut out for the Blue Jackets roster, and for anyone who was, again, worried that he was going to take a spot from a younger guy, those fears have now been put to rest. Speaking of the younger guys, David Jiricek is now one of only 6 2022 first-round picks that are still in NHL camp. I think it's extremely doubtful that he makes the NHL starting lineup. I don't think he's making it onto the big club this year on his 18-year-old season. That rarely ever happens with Jarmo Kekalainen, and Cole Sillinger is definitely the exception and not the rule. And David Jiricek, he's looked fine, but he hasn't really done much to separate himself from any of the other players. So even if they wanted to put him in the big club, I don't think he's done enough in camp to justify that. But all signs are pointing that he could make a start with the Cleveland Monsters. I guess they also could send him back to the Czech League. Maybe that they feel like that's better for his development. Although I would prefer to see him getting time on North American ice with a lot of minutes. He would definitely be playing on the top pair in that Monsters club. So hopefully they can send him to Cleveland. He can get a lot of ice time, a lot of experience there, and he can continue to improve his game, get some seasoning on him, and hopefully in the next season or two he can develop into that right-handed defenseman next to Zach Werenski that we were envisioning when Jarmo drafted him. And last but not least, Nolan Lalonde, the goaltender, has signed an entry-level contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets organization. He looked pretty solid in his preseason outings, but again, he's not getting anywhere closer to his Blue Jackets uniform this year. He probably doesn't even put on a Monsters uniform, to be quite honest. You have Elvis, Korpisalo, Tarasov, Jet Greaves, and you could argue that they're going to put Pavel Kahan, or however you say his last name, maybe it's Kahan, whatever. They're going to have 5 goaltenders above him, and they also drafted Sergei Ivanov in the draft this year. So does Nolan Lalonde make an impact with the Blue Jackets this year? No. Does he make an impact with the Blue Jackets in the immediate future? Also, probably not. There's like a 99.9% chance that we don't see or hear from Nolan Lalonde aside from these preseason camps for a very long time. For now, though, he's likely to continue his OHL stint with the Erie Otters. So all the best to him. Hopefully he can do some good things there. But as for the immediate future, Nolan Lalonde is just kind of they're kind of taking a flyer on him. He looked decent in training camp and preseason games, and he's 18. His career is kind of a big question mark at this point, but they have seen some good stuff from him so far. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far into the video, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed it and like to see more like it. Let me know what you think about how the Blue Jackets offseason has gone down in the comments so far. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you at the next one.